So ESPN received a full copy of the CBA term sheet, the full 11 pages of it. And obviously Kendra Andrews and Alexa Philippou received that, which is big. And yeah, we can see what it officially is. Before we get on to that, if you guys are new to the channel, subscribe. Thank you guys so much for 57.4k. We can hit 57.75k by the end of the day. That'd be greatly appreciated. But anyway, let's take a look at this right here. So WNBA CBA, we're changing possible end date to November 31st on the new CBA. Under the new CBA, the league is changing its latest possible date to November 21st, which is nearly a month later than the previous deal. According to a document produced by the union and acquired by ESPN. In 2028, the season could stretch to November the 30th because of Olympic schedule. It's the latest season's ever extended. Starting 2027, the number of possible games will increase to 50, then 52 by 2029. So, 50 games, a month. If I'm not mistaken, am I right in saying that even in the Olympic year, 2 years ago when there was 40 games, the 30th of September, was it game 2 of the Aces versus the Liberty? I think it was like the 15th of October. So you've got another 6 weeks. Olympics takes 4 weeks out of it and 10 games extra. Shit, you got crammed 10 games into... Well, no, there was a month break for the Olympics. Sorry, what am I talking about? So you get an extra 6 weeks to cram in 10 games, which cram in 6 extra games, which isn't bad. 2 weeks for 6 games, not the end of the world. Part of the extended calendar can be attributed to the expansion. Toronto are joining the league this season. By 2030, the league will be up to a record 18 teams. Players will also be required to report to their respective teams earlier. Under new CBA, players must arrive to their home markets by the later of April the 15th or the start of training camp. Previously, a report date was later of May the 1st. Okay, so that's not a big deal this year. So basically, it is later of April the 15th or start of training camp. It'll be start of training camp because the draft probably won't take place by then. But maybe it could be a thing where it's like, okay, yeah, you're immediately going from the Final Fours to the draft. Which, how does final exams work in college? Like, have they all sat their final exams? I don't know. Both the late November date and possible area report date could impact players who play overseas, including those signed to Project B, which is scheduled to take place from November to April 2027. The upcoming International 5-on-5 League is not announced dates, but it'll make a stop in Tokyo from March 26th to April the 4th. There's no issue there. April the 4th, April the 15th, they're fine. The latest possible end date in the last CBA was October 31st, with a maximum of 44 games allowed. The earliest possible start date to the basketball calendar remains unchanged, April 1st. The big thing says the earliest possible start. It's not going to be but during March Madness. That's just not going to happen. Oh, sorry, that was in the last CBA. A new document also shed a light on a variety of other issues, crux of the CBA, which wrapped up last week, yada yada. It said, through salaries and benefits, the players will receive 20% of the prior year's gross revenue. Okay, fair play. They got a gross revenue. Fair play. I didn't think they were going to be able to do it. Fair play to the players. Fair play to NECA. Fair play to Terry Carmichael Jackson. They got the gross revenue. Like, I think people, when I was talking about it, saying they were never going to get it, people were like, oh, you don't want the players to get it. I was like, no. I want it to be basketball, and I think if they hold out for this, it's not going to be basketball. And clearly, you know what? They played their hand, and they got it. Fair play. It's still fairly half of what they wanted, but still fair play. So they got gross revenue. That is really important. More salary figures come to light. Minimum salaries are based on years of service. And you want to know what the cool thing is here? So minimum salaries are based on years of service, but they all are the same cap spike. So every single one of these. So if you sign a minimum, let's just say if you've been in the league for 10 years, you're making 30 extra K, but you're only hitting the cap for 270K, which is kind of important. The next level below the Supermax, previously known as 1.4 million, is the regular max, which is 1.2 million. Shit. That's not good. I don't know why that's not good. 2.6 million for Kelsey Mitchell and Aaliyah Boston. It's like the Supermax will be only 200K. Like, realistically, for the Fever to keep Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah, and Kelsey Mitchell, they're all going to have to take 400-500K a year pay cuts, or leave it on the table. It's not going to happen. According to the document, the average year one salary for first round picks come at 386K, up from about 75K, while the rookie scale salary for the number one pick will equal 2.2 million over the 4 years. Better than the like 300k it was last year. Also, a change in new agreement. Lottery picks will receive full salary protection their first year with unspecified additional salary protection opportunities available for other picks. Previously, they received protection only if their fourth year option has been exercised. Okay, so basically, you can't cut them as a rookie. If you're taken in the first 5, you can't cut them as a rookie. I don't see a lottery pick getting cut as a rookie. I just don't. With the way college basketball is right now, like we're not going to see another draft where Kaiser Gondrzik goes in the first round. We're not going to see another year like 2021 where someone averages 0.7 points per game made the all-rookie team. Like, you're not going to see that. You're not even going to see like a 2022 draft where Queen Egbo makes the all-rookie team. Like, you're not going to see anything like that again. Like we saw last year. I can't remember who made it in the end for the all-rookie team. Obviously, Paige, Citron, Kiki. Was it Malonga and Janelle? Or was it Okol McCanny? Or Lacan? But like, you could have had an all-rookie second team of, I can't remember if it was Janelle or Okol McCanny, but one of those two. Lacan, Sanaya Rivers. Who else off the top of my head was really good last year? But there was Carla Late was good as a rookie. There was a lot of really good rookies last year. There was a lot. Kat Westbell was pretty good. There were a lot of really good rookies, and like, you're not gonna see anything bad there. And these lottery picks aren't gonna cut as a rookie. This is not gonna happen. A new minimum standard. They have to have good. It says here they're required to provide nursing. Okay, I misread that. It says they're required to provide nursing rooms starting 2027. Must provide a family room to Team Summer Marina. Well, yeah, that should be a given. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I thought that said they are required to provide nursing homes, and I'm like, what is going on? However, there are specific requirements for practice facilities, as listed: a locker room with sufficient bathroom, showers, lockers, exclusive use by a WNBA team, a WNBA regulation basketball court available for private and exclusive bases during a scheduled use, a separate weight room and cardio area for private and exclusive bases during scheduled use. So basically, all that means is that they have their own locker room, and also that when they're using the courts, they're the only ones allowed on the courts. So there's not going to be a child's birthday party kicking them off the court. Like, they have exclusive use during its scheduled use. It's not it doesn't mean that they have to have things straight away, but I think there's a time for this anyway. Teams are required to employ 2 athletic trainers. Yeah, these should be like minimum. These are minimum standards, and I think fair enough getting them in writing. League will establish a WNBA and WNBPA committee on wearables. This will be a voluntary program where players are committed to use approved wearable devices during games. Then in 2028, WNBA will be permitted to require use pending readiness as determined by a joint committee. Player data will not be available for use by a WNBA team in player contract. What? Okay, I don't know. There'll be a formation of a committee to develop parameters and rules for new pre-draft requirements, including combine. Cool. That'll be a combine. Will be cool. Player signing a contract prior to sign and trade can no longer sign for more than the standard max salary. Okay, so you can't core and trade. You can Okay, so maybe there was sign and trade issues. This doesn't sound like it matters core and trade, but a core doesn't even really matter anymore. Recognition payments for retired players. We know that. Team can provide more guaranteed contracts up from 6 to 7, not including rookie scales. For the 2 developmental player swaps, players must have 3 years of service or 4 to 5 with minimum with a minutes limit. They can be activated for 12 games. Okay, cool. So this is where your second round picks come in. I mean this though when I say this. Like, there has to be some way of, let's just say hypothetically, there can't be a benefit to not being a developmental player and just be sitting on the sideline. Like, hypothetically, let's just say the Sparks signed Ari to a developmental contract. I think she had played 3 years in the league. No, she played 4. But let's just say hypothetically she played 3. And they cut her from the main roster. But then that roster spot opens up for the Fever and she's kind of stuck. So then the Fever have to go to someone who didn't make a developmental roster. Like, I would assume that there is some way of tearing up your contract, or of a team signing a developmental player from another team to a full contract. But I'm guessing they're not going to be able to do that on a hardship basis and stuff. But the PA will, and also, by the way, there has to be a way of converting, let's just say a player gets injured, converting a developmental player to a full player. Or if you play more than the 12 games, you take a salary cap hit or something as a minimum. But it says here, the PA will manage and control licensing rights for adult jerseys instead of the league as previously stipulated. Cool. Teams are required to allow dependent children aged 13 or younger to travel with the team and provide an extra hotel room. Cool. 2 weeks paid leave are now available for non-birthing parents. Teams permitted to allow more than 2 weeks. Cool. So yeah, it seems like pretty straightforward stuff. I think the biggest thing from this is from this article here is the fact that the non-supermax max is 1.2 mil, 70% of the cap. Like, you can't really go out. Let's be real. Like, especially if you're the Fever, Kelsey Mitchell is going to take a supermax. I'm just putting it out there. Kelsey Mitchell, like, last year, Kelsey Mitchell taking the supermax instead of the regular max meant that the Fever had 11 players. She's not going to leave money on the table. So, like, you're going to be looking into the 2027 season of, let's just say, even for a hypothetical, the supermax being 20%. You're looking at Caitlin, Aaliyah, and Kelsey, 2 on supermaxes, 1 on a max. You're then looking at the 3 of them combined taking up 57% of the salary cap. Means you've got 43% of salary cap, which means the rest of the team has to be minimum contract players. Like, you can't even keep your first round pick rookie, which is mental. Like, whatever first round pick they get is going to be GG'd. Like, Thanos snapped out of existence. Like, you're just going to be using vets, people on vet minimums, and knowing the Fever, they're not going to bring young players throughout minimums. It's going to be old vets. But yeah, that's a bit of a concern for the Fever. But other than that, it's now official anyway. And overall, pretty nice one. And fair play to them for getting the gross revenue. I didn't think they were going to be able to do it. Fair play. Genuinely fair play. Prove me wrong. I'll see you guys.